True success begins not in the noise of ambition, but in the silence of disciplined thought. The man who can still his mind in a world driven by distraction possesses a secret power, one that cannot be bought, borrowed, or inherited. It must be earned through conscious effort and mental mastery. This speech is inspired by the timeless truth that every achievement begins with a clear, controlled mind. It will lead you through the inner workings of thought, focus, and self-command, revealing how silence becomes strength, and how a calm, unwavering mind attracts wealth, influence, and greatness. You will discover that success is not a matter of chance, but of mental preparation. The quiet mind does not simply wait. It plans, builds, and persists. While the masses react, the quiet mind chooses, and that choice creates destiny. If you seek to rise above mediocrity, to master not just your craft but yourself, this journey begins in stillness, where all true power is born. Every man desires power, yet few understand its true origin. It does not come from titles, wealth, or social status. Power begins in the mind. It is born from discipline, the ability to command yourself when no one is watching. The man who cannot rule himself will be ruled by others. He will be tossed about by distractions, moods, opinions, and circumstances. But the man who cultivates inner discipline possesses something rare: control. He does not act on every impulse, speak every thought, or chase every desire. He acts with intention. He thinks with clarity. He walks with direction. Such power cannot be purchased or borrowed. It must be earned through the silent work of mastering one's own mind. Inner discipline is forged in solitude. It is in the quiet moments, when you are alone with your thoughts, that your strength is either built or broken. Distractions are the enemy of discipline, and the modern world offers many: devices that demand attention, conversations that waste energy, and temptations that drain willpower. But the man who is serious about rising above mediocrity learns to close the door. Not just the physical door, but the mental one. The door to noise, to chaos, to influence. He carves out space within himself that no one can enter. It is in this space he sharpens his mind, clarifies his purpose, and rehearses his plan. The power he builds in that silence becomes unshakable. Discipline requires sacrifice. You must give up what is easy in order to gain what is meaningful. You must say no when others say yes. You must delay gratification, endure temporary discomfort, and resist the temptation to take shortcuts. But understand this: every time you deny yourself a fleeting pleasure in the name of a greater goal, you multiply your internal strength. This strength accumulates, it compounds. Day by day it builds a fortress of willpower that nothing external can penetrate. The man who possesses this level of control can achieve anything, not because the path becomes easier, but because he becomes stronger. Most people seek motivation, but motivation is a fleeting flame. It flickers with mood and circumstance. Discipline, on the other hand, is a furnace. It burns steady, regardless of emotion. It is the force that makes you get up early when you'd rather sleep. The force that pushes you forward when excuses appear reasonable. Discipline does not ask how you feel. It tells you what must be done and expects you to obey. This is where true freedom begins. Not in doing what you feel like, but in doing what is necessary, regardless of how you feel. In mastering your emotions, you free yourself from the slavery of impulse. The man of discipline does not speak more than necessary. His words are calculated, not careless. He understands that every time he speaks without value, he leaks power. He knows that silence is strength, and that restraint is the mark of maturity. The disciplined man does not seek validation through words. He seeks results through action. He does not argue with fools, nor does he advertise his intentions. He builds quietly, protects his energy, and lets success speak in his place. He understands that the loudest voice in the room is often the weakest. Power is quiet. Control is calm. Noise is the language of the undisciplined. Your future is not shaped by chance, it is shaped by discipline. Every day you are presented with two choices: comfort or growth. You can repeat the patterns that keep you stagnant or enforce new habits that propel you forward. Discipline is the decision to act in alignment with your purpose, not your mood. It is the repeated commitment to your higher self, even when no one is watching, especially when no one is watching. This is your shot, you got it. Discipline is a sacred debt, the trade of the cursed with the gods. You will pay it. This is your shot. You got it. Discipline is a sacred debt. This is your shot. You got it. 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 That is when character is formed, that is when integrity is tested, and that is when power is gained. It is a slow process, but the man who endures it becomes unstoppable. The undisciplined man lives in reaction. He is at the mercy of circumstance, emotion, and opinion. He allows his environment to dictate his behavior. But the disciplined man is proactive. He wakes with a plan. He moves with purpose. He shapes his environment rather than being shaped by it. He does not wait for perfect conditions. He creates them. He does not hope for opportunity. He prepares for it. While others sleep, he studies. While others complain, he builds. While others waste time, he uses it as capital. This is the path of power. To take full responsibility for yourself and to govern your life with unwavering commitment. Discipline is not a trait you are born with, it is a muscle you build. And like any muscle, it grows through repetition. Start small. Wake up at the time you said you would. Follow through on the promise you made to yourself. Finish the task you've been avoiding. Each act of discipline is a brick in the foundation of your power. Do not wait for the right moment. Create it. Do not wait to feel ready. Act in spite of hesitation. The more you do this, the more your mind obeys you. And once your mind is under control, everything else falls into place. Understand this truth. Success is not reserved for the smartest or the most talented. It is reserved for the most disciplined. Intelligence without discipline leads to wasted potential. Talent without discipline results in inconsistency. But discipline, pure, relentless discipline, turns average into excellent. It sharpens the dullest edge. It fuels progress where others stall. The disciplined man outlasts, outworks, and outperforms because he has trained himself to endure discomfort in the name of progress. He does not depend on mood, luck, or applause. He depends on principle, and principles never fail the man who honors them. In the end, power is not something you acquire, it is something you become. You become powerful by conquering the only thing that truly stands in your way, yourself. No enemy is more dangerous than your own undisciplined mind. But once you win that battle, nothing outside of you can stop you. You move with clarity, act with precision, and live with purpose. You no longer chase power, you embody it. And that, above all else, is the master key to unlocking everything you desire. The greatest mistake most people make with their dreams is assuming the world needs to know them. They speak of plans they haven't started, celebrate victories they haven't earned, and seek validation before they've achieved results. This habit weakens their resolve. Broadcasting your dreams too early invites distraction, judgment, and resistance, none of which help you build. When you speak prematurely, you trade momentum for approval. You leak the very energy you need to execute. Understand this: a dream is fragile in its infancy. It requires nurturing, protection, and focus. Every time you share it, you open the door to opinions that may erode your belief. Build in silence. Let your progress be the announcement. A man who moves in silence is feared because you cannot predict him. He does not waste words. He multiplies actions. Those who talk the most often do the least, but those who do the most are usually too busy to talk. When you stop explaining what you're going to do and start doing it, you unlock a rare power. The power to surprise, to outmaneuver, and to exceed expectations without warning. Silence does not mean passivity. It means precision. When you keep your goals private, you are not avoiding accountability. You are protecting clarity. Every dream has a gestation period. And just like you wouldn't dig up a seed daily to show its progress, you must not expose your goals to casual scrutiny before they've rooted. Early exposure invites doubt. It invites advice from the unqualified. It invites voices that dilute your own. Silence is a discipline. It is a shield that guards your vision while it matures. The man who shares too soon often ends up questioning his path. But the man who works quietly moves forward with conviction. He builds a fortress of focus that outside noise cannot penetrate. Each step taken in silence strengthens his resolve. He doesn't need applause to continue. He doesn't need acknowledgement to believe. He needs only progress, and that becomes his fuel. While others are busy convincing the world of what they plan to do, he is already doing it. And when results appear, they speak louder than any explanation ever could. Announcing your dreams often becomes a substitute for achieving them. The praise people give you for your ambition can feel like success. It's a dangerous illusion. You become addicted to recognition and forget to build the foundation that recognition was supposed to rest on. Your brain rewards the announcement with a sense of completion, even though nothing tangible has been created. This is why so many talkers never become doers. They've spent their energy trying to impress, not trying to improve. You must resist this temptation. You must understand that your dream is not a performance, it is a process. And every process demands privacy until it bears fruit. Imagine the artist who shows every sketch before the masterpiece is complete. He opens himself to criticism that can kill creativity. So too with your vision. It needs to remain sacred. Let your silence be your sanctuary. In that quiet space, you refine, adjust, and perfect. You grow stronger away from the spotlight. Then, when the time comes, you reveal a result so powerful that it needs no introduction. Those who broadcast their ambitions often become slaves to the expectations they create. They feel pressure to prove themselves before they are ready. They perform for approval rather than building for fulfillment. They become trapped in the image of what they said they'd do instead of focusing on the substance. Silence frees you from this trap. When no one knows your timeline, your process, or your plan, you're free to evolve at your own pace. You make mistakes in private. You change direction without explanation. You take risks without ridicule. That freedom allows you to move faster and think clearer. The silent builder doesn't chase perfection. He chases progress. He understands that growth is not always linear or loud. It's often messy, uncertain, and personal. But because he's not seeking permission or applause, he stays grounded. His commitment is to mastery, not attention. And when he arrives, it looks sudden, but it's not. It's the result of consistent, disciplined action behind closed doors. That's the kind of power that endures. That's the kind of legacy that is remembered, not for what was said, but for what was built. Most people fear silence because it feels lonely, but solitude is where greatness is forged. You cannot become exceptional while constantly explaining yourself to ordinary minds. Dreams require incubation, and the incubator is silence. In silence, you face your doubts. In silence, you confront your laziness, your excuses, and your ego. You strip away illusions and come face to face with reality. That's where transformation begins. You begin to respect your journey not for how it appears, but for what it's making of you. You develop mental toughness because you're no longer dependent on applause to keep going. You become resilient because you've learned how to walk alone. And in that aloneness, your dream becomes clearer. You see what others can't see because you've silenced what others are saying. This inner clarity becomes your compass. It keeps you grounded when others quit. It keeps you moving when motivation fades. And it gives you a sense of certainty that no amount of praise could ever provide. Silence is not isolation, it's immersion. The deeper you go within, the higher you rise without. You must remember, the world does not reward intention, it rewards execution. No one cares what you plan to do, they care what you've done. So why waste breath on possibilities when you could be investing energy in outcomes? When you broadcast your dreams, you risk giving away your leverage. People begin to analyze, question, even sabotage. Not everyone clapping for you is cheering for you. Some want to see you fail, just so they can say, "I knew it." When you move in silence, you remove their ammunition. They can't attack what they can't see. They can't judge what they don't understand. And by the time they notice, it's already too late. You've already built the foundation, already climbed the mountain, already owned the result. The most powerful moves are made quietly. The greatest revolutions begin unnoticed. Let your growth be a whisper, and your results a roar. Speak less, do more. Plan in private, execute in peace, and reveal only what must be revealed. The truth is, real builders don't need an audience. They are driven by vision, not by validation. Their fire burns internally, fueled by purpose, not applause. They know that public declarations can become cages, locking them into a path they've outgrown. But in silence, there is room to evolve, to change strategies, to pivot, to make mistakes without embarrassment. The silent man is flexible, agile, free. He is not bound by image, nor seduced by attention. He is loyal only to growth, and growth, real growth, is messy, personal, and rarely impressive at first. It doesn't photograph well. It doesn't always look like success. But it is success, because it is becoming. The loud ones announce, the real ones transform. If you want to be among the few who finish what they start, keep your mouth closed and your head down. Let others gossip, you'll be grinding. Let others boast, you'll be building. Let others talk, you'll be too focused to listen. There's a reason silence is associated with strength in every great tradition. The warrior is silent before battle. The sage is silent before wisdom. The leader is silent before action. The noise is for those who have nothing of substance to show. But silence, that's where the depth is. In silence, you develop conviction. In silence, you sharpen your skill. In silence, you become immune to external chaos because you've built internal order. So when it's time to speak, you speak with weight. When it's time to act, you act with power. And when results appear, they are undeniable because they were not built in hype, but in solitude. When you build in silence, the result is clean. There are no false promises, no inflated egos, no wasted energy, just impact, just transformation, just truth. And truth, when revealed, needs no explanation. It speaks for itself. This is not just advice. It is a principle, a universal law. The greatest things ever created were formed away from the crowd. Mountains rose in silence. Rivers carved valleys over time. And you, too, must become a force of nature. Slow, steady, silent, and unstoppable. Do not be seduced by the culture of noise. Do not fall into the trap of seeking applause before you've done the work. Let them doubt you. Let them forget you. Let them assume you've given up. Good. That's when you strike. That's when you arrive with such power, such presence, such undeniable proof of mastery that even your silence sounds like thunder. You owe the world nothing, but you owe your dream everything. So guard it, build it, honor it. In silence, growth begins in solitude. It begins the moment you turn inward and commit to becoming more than what you were yesterday. Self-development is not a staged performance. It's not designed for display, applause, or public validation. It is a deeply personal process, quiet, uncomfortable, and often misunderstood. When you embark on this journey, you must be prepared to walk alone, not because the world is against you, but because very few understand what you're building. The transformation of the mind, the reshaping of character, the elevation of standards, these are invisible until they produce visible results. That's why you must resist the urge to showcase your growth too soon. You don't owe anyone updates. You owe yourself progress. True development doesn't happen in front of an audience. It happens behind closed doors, in the hard choices, the private struggles, and the quiet victories that no one claps for. When you stop performing and start evolving, you break free from the need for recognition and anchor yourself in authentic, lasting change. Real development requires isolation, not physical, but mental. You must withdraw from the noise of opinions, expectations, and comparisons. The world teaches you to chase approval, to measure success through likes, comments, and public perception. But self-development demands a shift in values. It requires you to ignore how it looks and focus on how it feels. Only you can truly know whether you're growing. You feel it when you outgrow your old habits. You sense it when silence becomes more rewarding than empty conversations. You experience it when you no longer need to explain your absence, your discipline, or your standards. This type of growth is not loud. It's quiet and steady. You don't need to prove anything because you are becoming something. That's why the journey must remain personal. When you involve too many voices, you invite confusion. The more people watching, the more pressure you feel to perform. And performance is the enemy of progress. Choose to evolve in private. That's where real strength is forged. There is a reason why the caterpillar transforms within a cocoon. That isolation is necessary. That darkness is critical. No butterfly was ever formed on display. And so it is with you. The greatest breakthroughs in your life will occur when no one is watching. It's in the early mornings you discipline yourself to rise before the world. It's in the late nights you push through the urge to quit. It's in the days you keep going despite discouragement. And those moments don't go viral. They aren't seen or celebrated, but they're sacred, and they matter more than anything you could post or announce. The world does not need to witness every step of your journey, only the results of your transformation. And when those results come, they will speak louder than any story you could have shared. Trust that. Trust the process. Protect your progress. And stop turning your inner work into an outer performance. Some things are too valuable to be exposed before they're complete. Growth is uncomfortable because it challenges the version of you that others are familiar with. The more you evolve, the more you disrupt their perception. That's why the journey must be yours alone. If you wait for others to understand your changes, you'll stay stuck. People will ask why you're distant, why you've changed, why you no longer entertain the same conversations. That's a sign you're on the right path. Let them wonder, let them question. You are not obligated to explain a journey they were never assigned to take. Your development is not a group project. It's a contract between you and your potential. The more you internalize this, the less external permission you'll seek. You'll stop needing approval to rest, to grow, to say no, to shift direction. You'll stop seeking applause for doing what's necessary, and in that space of self-trust, you'll gain momentum that no one can see, but everyone will eventually feel. Private evolution always produces public transformation in time. There is a cost to sharing too much too soon. When you make your growth public too early, you expose it to judgment, envy, and misinterpretation. People may not understand your motives, your vision, or your discipline, and their misunderstanding can plant seeds of doubt in your mind. Growth is fragile in its early stages. It must be protected. The more you keep your process private, the more powerful it becomes. Let your silence do the heavy lifting. Let your results be your proof. In time, people will ask what changed, and you won't need to explain. They'll see it in how you carry yourself, in the decisions you make, in the energy you bring into a room. They'll feel it without you having to say a word. And that kind of impact can't be faked or forced. It can only be earned through quiet, consistent effort behind the scenes. Keep your development sacred. The world doesn't need access to your becoming, only the results of who you've become. The reason so many people struggle to sustain growth is because they started it for others. They wanted to impress, they wanted to prove something, but external motives fade. When the applause stops, the effort stops. That's why your journey must begin with a personal reason, a deep, burning why that doesn't rely on external attention. You grow best when your motive is internal, when you look in the mirror and decide that who you are now is not who you're meant to be, when your future matters more than others' opinions. That's when the shift happens. That's when growth becomes permanent, because it's no longer for show, it's for survival, it's for fulfillment, it's for alignment. And when that shift happens, you become unstoppable. You don't need cheers, you don't need cameras. You need discipline, clarity, and quiet conviction. That's the formula, that's the way. Turn inward and build without noise. Let your future self be the only one you're trying to impress. Self-development is not glamorous, it's repetitive, it's often dull. There are no shortcuts, no magic moments, just countless decisions to keep going. It means reading when you'd rather scroll. It means exercising when you'd rather sleep. It means saying no when it's easier to say yes. These choices aren't dramatic, but they are powerful. They compound, they create character, and character, once formed, leads to success. But this process doesn't need an audience. You don't need to explain why you've gone quiet or why you're changing. Let your life explain itself in time. The most powerful transformations often look like nothing at all until they are complete. That's why you must be patient. Don't rush to show progress. Just commit to it. Let the results reveal what words cannot. If you're serious about becoming your highest self, you'll understand that growth is not a public performance. It's a private promise. Keep it, honor it, protect it. You will lose people along this journey, and that's a sign you're doing it right. Not everyone can accompany you into the next chapter. Growth creates separation. As you elevate, old conversations will bore you. Old habits will repel you. Old environments will drain you. That's normal. Don't resist it. Don't explain it. Just keep rising. The right people will find you on the next level. The ones who respect your silence, who understand your vision without needing constant updates, who grow with you without demanding your attention, those are the ones worth keeping. But to find them, you must first walk the path alone. You must commit to the lonely work of becoming. And you must be okay with being misunderstood for a while, because on the other side of that isolation is freedom. Not just the freedom to become who you're meant to be, but the freedom to live without needing permission or praise. That's the reward. That's the victory. Private journey, personal triumph. The path to self-mastery is never taken by the masses. It's a narrow road. Few choose it, and even fewer complete it. Why? Because it's hard. Because it demands silence when everyone else is speaking. It demands humility when others seek attention. It requires consistency without applause, sacrifice without reward, and faith without feedback. But those who stay the course discover something priceless. They become the kind of person who no longer needs to prove themselves, because they know themselves. That's the ultimate reward of personal development. Not money, not recognition, but certainty, inner peace, self-respect. These are the treasures that cannot be bought, only earned. So walk your path quietly, build your character privately, sharpen your mind in silence, and know this: every step taken in solitude is one step closer to greatness. The energy of a man is sacred, and it is spent far too easily in idle conversation. Every time you speak of what you will do, you release some of the power you could have used to actually do it. Words, when not anchored in action, drain you. They give the illusion of progress but produce nothing of value. The man who constantly talks about his plans without executing them is indulging in a fantasy, and fantasies do not build empires. Energy follows focus, and focus must be directed by action. Each time you delay movement in favor of explanation, you weaken your momentum. The world is full of talkers and empty of doers. Those who act gain strength with every step. Those who speak gain nothing but fleeting attention. Your future does not respond to your voice. It responds to your effort. If you want to multiply your energy, stop explaining your vision and start building it. Let the results do the talking for you. Action, unlike speech, compounds. One productive step leads to another. One disciplined day fuels the next. In contrast, words often scatter energy. They distract. They invite opinions, interruptions, and ego. The man who chooses action over words is not just working, he's building force, momentum, gravity. He becomes difficult to stop because he has trained himself to invest energy in the unseen labor rather than the superficial display. This is the principle of compounding discipline. You rise early not to tell the world, but to give yourself an edge. You train your body and your mind not for applause, but for personal strength. Each task done in silence stacks upon the last, creating a foundation of power. But speak too often, and you interrupt that flow. You scatter your thoughts trying to impress others. Eventually, you're drained, not because you worked too hard, but because you spoke too much. Protect your energy by speaking less and doing more. That's where strength is stored. There is no need to announce your intentions when your actions are relentless. Those who are serious about growth have little time for discussion. They are immersed in the doing. Their days are consumed with movement, with forward pressure, and because of that, they become stronger, not just physically or financially, but mentally. Each silent victory adds to their internal power. The man who lets results speak will always carry more weight than the one who speaks without result. This is not about arrogance or secrecy. It's about efficiency. You do not owe the world your roadmap. You owe it your finished product. And the more energy you conserve by staying silent, the more you can direct into productive effort. Most people waste their best ideas in conversation. They leak their inspiration before it becomes transformation. But the wise builder holds his vision tight, protecting it, feeding it with labor, letting it grow until it needs no words at all, only undeniable outcomes. Understand that talking creates expectations, and expectations create pressure. Once you speak, you are held to your word, whether you're ready or not. And often, people speak before they are prepared. They seek validation prematurely, and in doing so, sabotage their own development. Action, on the other hand, creates results. Results require no explanation, no defense. They exist independently of opinion. They confirm your discipline without needing your voice. This is why the most accomplished individuals are often the quietest. They are not hiding, they are honing. They are not secretive, they are selective. They understand that true work happens in silence, not on stage. They value energy as a resource, and they spend it wisely. For every word you don't say, there's an action you could take instead. One that will serve you, grow you, build you. Do not trade movement for momentary attention. Trade silence for strength. Let your legacy be built in what you do, not in what you say. Speech may entertain, but only action transforms. It is easy to get caught up in the rhythm of words, in planning, discussing, and theorizing. These things feel productive. They simulate forward motion. But simulation is not substance. While you talk, others build. While you plan endlessly, others execute repeatedly. And with each repetition, their skill sharpens, their results grow, their future becomes real. The thinker must become the doer if he wants to achieve anything worthwhile. Thinking has value, but without execution, it becomes weight. Words are cheap when they are not backed by action. The man of action speaks only when necessary, and his words carry force because they are rare and rooted in experience. His reputation grows not because of what he claims, but because of what he has built. In a world obsessed with opinions and declarations, choose instead to be known by outcome. Let them wonder how you did it while you're already on to your next step, still silent, still moving. One of the most powerful truths in life is this: action cannot be faked. You can speak without substance. You can pretend in conversation, But the work, that exposes everything. It reveals whether you are who you say you are. The gym doesn't lie. The discipline doesn't lie. The results don't lie. The discipline doesn't lie. The results don't lie. And this is why action is so powerful. It is honest, brutally honest. It measures your commitment with no regard for what you promised or posted. And if you want to multiply your energy, live in the honesty of effort. Push yourself toward action, even when it's inconvenient, especially when it's uncomfortable. That resistance you feel, that's where the growth is. You cannot talk your way through it. You must work through it. That is where your energy becomes force. Not in projection, but in progression. Not in discussion, but in execution. Every time you act despite resistance, you become stronger. Every time you do instead of talk, you become real. People waste months, even years, speaking about things they never start. They are in love with the idea of success but afraid of the responsibility. Talking allows them to pretend they're on the journey without ever taking the first step. Don't fall into that trap. Action demands courage. It invites failure, but it also guarantees growth. The more you do, the more you learn. The more you learn, the sharper your actions become. This is the multiplication of energy. It is exponential, but only available to those who move. Action creates feedback. It reveals what works and what doesn't. It sharpens your instinct and hardens your resolve. And with every adjustment, you improve. Words never taught a man how to lead, how to win, or how to endure. Only the battlefield of action offers that kind of wisdom. So stop debating, stop promising, get into motion. Let the struggle shape you. Let your scars become your credentials. That's how real strength is built, through action, never explanation. Energy flows where your attention goes. If your attention is scattered across multiple conversations, opinions, and empty declarations, your energy will be thin and ineffective. But if your attention is grounded in specific, focused actions, your energy will be powerful and consistent. Every small action you take builds momentum. It doesn't have to be grand or perfect, just real. Momentum is the secret weapon of high achievers. They know that doing something, however small, beats saying something grand and doing nothing. You build momentum by keeping promises to yourself, by showing up when no one watches, by grinding in silence. In doing so, you conserve energy, and that conservation creates surplus. That surplus turns into speed, speed into impact, impact into influence. All of this is born not from what you say, but from what you do. The loudest man in the room rarely owns the room, but the quiet man who executes, he controls the outcome. Stay quiet, move with purpose. Let your actions accumulate force. Your energy is your greatest asset. Waste it on idle talk, and you'll have nothing left for the labor that matters. Preserve it through focused execution, and you'll become unstoppable. There will always be people who talk louder, promise bigger, and announce earlier. Let them. Their noise does not affect your result. Your mission is not to impress, it is to complete. And the only way to complete is through consistent action. When you direct all your power toward movement, without distraction, without performance, you begin to operate on another level. Your results will startle those who underestimated you, but you won't be surprised, because you were working while they were watching. Every great achievement was built by a man too busy to talk and too disciplined to stop. Be that man. Let your silence become your strategy. Let your energy build into force. And let your actions speak such volumes that the world has no choice but to listen, long after you've said nothing at all. A quiet mind is not a passive mind. It is a powerful, controlled, and directed force. In a world filled with constant noise, the ability to silence your internal chaos is a rare advantage. The quiet mind is calm, not because it lacks ambition, but because it has mastered focus. It no longer reacts to every distraction, every opinion, every external pressure. It operates from a place of inner certainty, and from that space, success becomes magnetized. You don't chase it frantically. You create conditions that draw it in. The mind that is scattered produces scattered results, but the quiet mind, like still water, reflects clarity. It knows what it wants. It doesn't waste energy on unnecessary conflict, comparison, or self-doubt. Instead, it moves forward with purpose, calmly and deliberately. Success is attracted to this type of mind not because it is lucky, but because it is stable. In that stability lies the power to act decisively and to persevere when others panic. The man with a quiet mind doesn't need to announce his progress. He feels it within. He walks with a confidence born not from arrogance, but from preparation. His thoughts are not cluttered by fear or ego. They are structured, ordered, deliberate. This mental order gives rise to creative solutions, intuitive decisions, and rapid progress. When your mind is still, you hear what others miss. Opportunities that fly past the noisy and distracted become obvious to you. Why? Because clarity creates receptivity. The quiet mind notices patterns, sees openings, and remains alert without being anxious. It has no need to impress, to explain, or to be validated, because it is internally directed, and that inner direction produces external impact. In silence, your vision sharpens. In stillness, your energy gathers. You stop reacting emotionally and begin responding strategically. From this place, success begins to align itself with you, not because you begged for it, but because you became the kind of person it is naturally drawn to. An undisciplined mind is easily manipulated. It jumps from idea to idea, fear to fear, and never finds peace. The quiet mind, by contrast, is under command. It obeys your higher purpose, not your lower instincts. When others are swept away by circumstances, the quiet mind remains anchored. That stability is what gives you the edge in times of uncertainty. While the masses panic, you remain poised. And in that poise, you make better choices. You conserve energy. You move wisely. This is why leaders with quiet minds often seem unshakable. They are not suppressing emotion. They have trained control. They don't allow mental noise to dictate their mood or decisions. They stay aligned with principle, not impulse. That is the kind of person success favors. Not the frantic, reactive, high-strung thinker, but the composed, strategic executor. The mind you control becomes the world you influence. The quieter your thoughts, the louder your results. Because action born of clarity always outpaces reaction born of chaos. Stillness is strength. It allows you to think long enough to choose wisely, rather than respond out of emotion. Success demands discernment, and discernment only exists in a calm mind. Most people lose their path not because they lacked ambition, but because they made decisions in haste, frustration, or desperation. These are the products of a noisy mind. The quiet mind, however, is a master of timing. It knows when to wait, when to speak, and when to strike. That patience is not weakness, it is tactical strength. You cannot master your circumstances until you master your state of mind. A reactive mind is easily manipulated by distractions, but the quiet mind builds a fortress within. It becomes immune to petty drama, to criticism, to temporary failure. From that fortress, power grows, vision sharpens, discipline increases, and with each quiet decision made from clarity and control, you build momentum that others can't understand because they are too busy chasing what you are quietly creating. A quiet mind attracts success because it emits stability, and success seeks stable ground. Investors don't invest in chaos. People don't follow confusion. Opportunity doesn't enter turbulence. When your mind is calm, your life becomes a place where growth can occur. Your relationships improve, your decisions strengthen, your work becomes more efficient, all because your mental environment supports excellence. A chaotic inner world can't create an ordered external one, but a disciplined internal world, that becomes a magnet for the very results others struggle to attain. The quiet mind is not void of fire. It simply directs that fire with precision. There is intensity behind the silence, purpose behind the stillness. And when you learn to channel that, you stop forcing progress and start attracting it. You stop needing to control every outcome and start trusting your preparation. That's when things begin to move in your favor. Because you have aligned your thoughts with your goals and eliminated the noise that slows most people down. Great builders think before they build. Great warriors wait before they strike. Great leaders listen before they speak. All power, in its highest form, is calm. That calm begins in the mind. If you wish to become powerful, truly powerful, then your mind must become your ally, not your enemy. The noisy mind is always at war with itself. It questions, doubts, and contradicts. It wastes time arguing with its own vision, but the quiet mind is united. It is consistent, decisive, and focused. It does not entertain every opinion or chase every trend. It sticks to its path, and in doing so it builds faster, lasts longer, and impacts deeper. The average person seeks external control while their inner world is in disarray. The quiet-minded individual flips this. They conquer the inside, and the outside begins to reflect that mastery. If you want to lead your life rather than be led by it, begin with stillness. Master that, and success will follow without resistance. The quiet mind is also resilient. It bends but does not break. It endures pressure without panicking. This is a critical trait because every journey worth taking comes with adversity. Noise makes you fragile. Stillness makes you strong. In crisis, the loud mind exaggerates problems. The quiet mind analyzes them. The loud mind reacts. The quiet mind recalibrates. And this ability to stay composed under pressure is what creates long-term winners. Temporary success can come to anyone. Sustained success belongs to those who can stay balanced through storms. Your ability to quiet your mind during difficult times will separate you from the crowd. People will wonder how you stayed composed, how you kept building, how you made wise choices, while everything around you was uncertain. The answer will not be luck. It will be discipline. Discipline of thought, discipline of focus, discipline of reaction. That's the edge. A quiet mind doesn't avoid conflict. It simply refuses to be ruled by it. Meditation, reflection, solitude. These are not luxuries. They are necessities for greatness. You need time away from the noise to hear your own intuition. You need stillness to strategize, to recover, to plan. The loud world will always urge you to react, but success belongs to those who pause, observe, and respond with clarity. You must create space for your mind to breathe. That space becomes the breeding ground for innovation, for solutions, for bold ideas that average minds never arrive at. While others consume distraction, you build discipline. That alone is a competitive advantage. While they panic over uncertainty, you maintain composure. That's leverage. The quiet mind is not less engaged. It is more selective. It chooses where to place attention. It controls its input. And because of that, it produces higher quality output. Silence is not emptiness, it is preparation. The quieter you become, the more you can hear what matters. And the more you hear what matters, the more success you begin to attract. People misunderstand quietness as weakness, but true quiet is not submission, it is authority. It is the ability to stand in your truth without needing to shout it. It is power under control. The quiet mind doesn't need external recognition because it is rooted in internal validation. It knows its path. It honors its principles. It remains unmoved by petty opinions, and in that self-possession it radiates confidence. People feel it, they trust it. That is why success gravitates toward the quiet, not because they are better, but because they are more stable, more focused, more prepared. The loud often fumble opportunities by being reactive and impatient. The quiet seize opportunities by being steady and ready. Don't mistake loudness for strength. It is often a cover for insecurity. Real power walks calmly. It doesn't need to force itself. It simply arrives, fully formed. Be that. Be calm. Be deliberate. Let your stillness carry weight, and let your mind attract everything your discipline deserves. The quiet mind is the master key to every form of success. In it lies the ability to think, to create, to execute, and to endure. Without it, chaos rules. The battle is not out there. It is inside. Win it and the outside will follow. Don't seek to outshout the world. Seek to outfocus it, outlast it, outdiscipline it. Let them chase noise. You chase clarity. Let them speak of goals. You live them. The quiet mind builds in silence and lets the work echo for generations. You don't need to be seen every day, but you must be building every day. Success is not earned through volume, but through vision. A clear, focused, and disciplined mind creates that vision and then turns it into reality. Protect your mind. Cultivate silence. Operate from stillness. That's how you attract not only success, but greatness that endures, multiplies, and inspires.